they don't even see that we're a threat yet. If you have a decentralized entity that people can opt into, that starts performing services that the government used to provide, then what do you need these guys for?
Hey everybody, in this video of Proof of Make, we cover decentralized blockchain projects and use them, review them, talk about them. We're going to cover Aragon. Aragon has been around for years. It was one of the first token sales that was actually out there, and they finally launched onto the Ethereum mainnet a few days ago, and we're going to take a look at their project. Now, in this video, we create a decentralized autonomous organization for the purpose of managing company funds. So we can actually load money onto this DAO that we create and then vote on how the money is used. We can also create new tokens for new members of the team who can then have a vote and a say. We can set how many people have to be available for a vote, how long the votes last. For example, in our video, we put 12 hours. In this video, we're gonna take Aragon for a spin. A few of the things that we noticed is one, that when you do things like make transactions onto the Ethereum network, for people who aren't that familiar with Ethereum, it could be kind of counterintuitive because you don't really know when something's pending, right? So there's no feedback really. And a lot of times, especially when creating an organization, right now things crash. Now this will probably be fixed very soon, but these are the things that we want to kind of highlight and show. It's a great tool, it's an awesome tool, but it's early. But the key is it's usable and we will be actually using it. So that's the main point of this whole thing. And even given the hiccups along the way in this new project, it is really valuable. It means that people from around the world, for example, venture funds, can come together. People can deposit funds, and then those funds can only be moved by what is set in the smart contract as the quorum and the majority vote. So that's really, really awesome, and it's going to change the way organizations are created and the way that organizations are managed. Without further ado, let's take a look at the project. So let's start this video with the end result of what you're going for. When you create a decentralized autonomous organization, more commonly known as a DAO, you will have several token holders who have a certain amount of tokens that can be used for voting. And you will have, and as you can see here are the past votes that were just executed. So we minted 10 tokens and gave it to someone. We minted another 5 tokens, gave it to our CTO. We voted on whether we should buy new shoes for new employees. This is more of a subjective vote whereby it's not executed on the blockchain, whereby these actually execute on the blockchain. So these were minted. And then we have this vote that's currently pending that has 11 hours and 35 minutes to go, whether we want to spend money from our treasury, 0.05 Ethereum, to this address. And then we have a finance department whereby we have 0.15 F that can be transferred to someone. And in order for a transfer to go through, it needs a majority vote. And so this is really cool. This allows an organization to manage its treasury completely transparently. It's really awesome. Now we'll go to the setup. Now there are several things that we had a few hiccups here and there, but those are more on the user experience and not on the actual smart contract execution. So let's actually go back and go through what it takes to actually create an organization like this. You'll start by going to mainnet.aragon.orf and you'll click Create New Organization. Now, I suggest if it's your first time, definitely trying on the Ethereum testnet, getting some test Rinkeby, because there are several mistakes you can make. For example, when we were setting up our first organization, we accidentally sent 10 tokens to the contract address, which completely made that organization useless as that person couldn't vote and had a majority vote at that period. So little things like that you'll need to learn about, and you should definitely experiment first. But if you've done that, you can go onto the mainnet, you create the organization, you click Create New Organization. We did a token with the democracy. You can do a token project with the multisig, but this one's more straightforward. Click Next. And then you give your token a name. So we called ours Proof Desk, so I'll just call this one Proof Desk 1. This is for our internal management at our office of just various things that we want to be able to give people in our community the ability to vote. So if you're in our community, we can send you tokens and you can vote on how we use our money. And you can also vote on who gets new tokens, and you can vote on
like I said, the more subjective things like, should we give new employees a new laptop? And we can have it recorded forever that was our policy. And then we can overturn that policy, etc. So it's really cool. I'll click next. And then you set your support. Your support is what percentage of votes have to be for or against something for it to pass. So usually this will be 50%. And the quorum, we really like 15%. This means that at least 15% of tokens need to be represented in a vote for it to pass. So even if 50% are yay against, maybe a lesser percentage that's nay, it won't go unless 15% of token holders or tokens that represent holders are present. And then you put a duration. We like 12 hours because it kind of seems like 24 hours is a really long time. And even if it's done at night, when people wake up in the morning, they can vote. But some people might want to, especially if they're located around the world and people might not be logging onto Aragon all the time, might want to set a 12-hour. Then you click next and you give your token a name. So this would be proof desk 1, and you give it a symbol, PRT off. And you can only be up to 5 symbols. And you click next. And then MetaMask will open up. You'll need MetaMask installed on your browser. You'll be able to click it. And then you click confirm. And then when that transaction confirms, you click confirm again. One of the things that we notice is you can't really set the gas price directly from the UI, which means that if the fee that they automatically kind of give you is low and transaction volume on Ethereum the Ethereum mainnet is high, then your transaction might go through tomorrow or something like that. So, but they set a decent fee. I think it's 10 gwei. And so in times of not a lot of traffic, it's not so bad. So there's that. And then also we noticed that when we actually confirm the transaction, that after you do everything, it's okay. Your computer might freeze and it will probably crash, at least as of this recording. But you can refresh, go to your URL by just going back to mainnet.org and typing in your address. So proof desk is what we actually created, and you click open organization and it will be there. So you'll start actually with just you, it'll say you, being the one token holder, and you'll need to click assign tokens to send other people tokens. So you'll originally assign a token to someone else. You'll click assign tokens, and then that'll create a vote, and then you'll need to vote on those new tokens, and then you actually have a decentralized organization. Otherwise, it's just you, and everything's going automatically. We have ideas for how that UI could be improved. One of the things that we see here is that when you first start out and there's just one token holder, I can kind of give you an idea what that looks like. So this is what you see when you first come on, right? And this will say, and this will say 1. So this is what you see at first, right? And it doesn't really tell you what do I do? How do I create a vote, etc. You don't really know what to do when you're at this stage. So that could be updated, but what you do is you click assign tokens, you put an address, you say how many tokens you want to assign. Make sure you don't accidentally put the token address that's at the top of your screen, because that's kind of like a default action, especially if you do Ethereum stuff. You kind of go to Etherscan, you copy and paste stuff. So before I was going through Etherscan and going back and forth between things and accidentally grabbed the address of my token and sent to that. Don't do that, and because you can't use your tokens anymore. So it's pretty cool. Let me refresh. The app's pretty cool. Like I said, you can see all of your previous votes. One thing to look out for, so for example, let's say I create a new vote and I want to say get a new monitor for the 6th floor office. Okay, so I'll create a vote. I'll click create transaction. MetaMask will see that transaction, and I'll need to click on MetaMask. I will then click confirm. It'll cost me 67 cents to create that vote. And here. So it would be nice to have like a loading or something to indicate that we're waiting, or if you refresh the page, it just looks like there's no vote, especially when you don't even have any votes. You go to here and you're like, what's going on? So that would be nice. So now it's there, right? So that's cool. That didn't take too long. And then you can view the vote. And now other people need to go ahead and vote for it. And if 12 hours passes, that vote fails if no one else votes. But if other people do vote, then it does pass. And nothing happens on the chain. It's just a record of something happening. For example, this one passed because we asked, should we buy new shoes for employees? It passed. It's not enforced on the blockchain, but these, like creating new tokens or sending money, these actually confirm on the blockchain. So that's a look at what Aragon is, how it works, and where it is at the moment. We're really happy about this project, and we will continue. Now, what I will do is I will show you me showing our CTO how to use it, and we can see kind of maybe what questions he asks, etc., to get an idea, because that's the big thing. You're going to need to go and get other people to know how to use this. So let's try it. Let's see how it goes.
Let's see how Aragon works.
Basically, you just go to mainnet.aragon.orf, and you type in our decentralized organization name. So ours is Proof Desk, and then we open organization. So this means like that anybody can actually see what we're voting on and what we're doing.
Okay.
So if we wanted to keep the secret, we would just create one that people didn't know.
Oh, so you can create secret organizations?
No.
No.
It was all on the blockchain, right? So that's
I guess they all the transactions.
But I guess it would be cool if there might be a setting here where you can make them not searchable, but I don't see it. But that would be cool. So Aragon, that'd be nice. So here's your token. You have 5.
Right.
I did that because you weren't down here yet, and so since that
that's definitely my address right there.
Yeah. So what we'll do is, like, let's say for David or someone else in our team, we click assign tokens. We'd paste in their address.
Okay.
And we'd say, let's say I want to assign this person 10 tokens.
So that's your address, or is that David's address?
This is my address,
okay.
But like let's say it's David's, because if I use David's address now, that's the thing. I first would have to make sure they know how to use it, because if we send all tokens to David and he can't vote on anything, then we can never get anything passed.
So my only question is, why are you giving David more tokens than me?
Well, let's think, because I control this address.
This is fake David. Okay, this is fake David.
These are really just going to me.
So fake David gets...
So once everyone's the majority voters actually know how to use this, then we can start assigning tokens. Otherwise, because also he might send me the wrong address and then be like, oh, that's my Coinbase. I don't have access to that. And then we're like, okay, our whole organization can't make votes now.
Okay, got it.
So in the first version, I actually accidentally did that. So somehow, you know how you can move between like Etherscan and stuff? What I did was I went on Etherscan, whatever, and accidentally somehow copied this address up at the top in the URL.
Right.
So I accidentally assigned majority of the tokens to that address, which then meant that the whole decentralized organization and the gas money, like the $10 that I spent or whatever to create the organization, was wasted forever, because you can't actually do anything.
Is there any sort of like test net first prior rough draft thing you can do with your
I mentioned that, like, just do it on testnet first to learn. But then that's the thing. For all the people in the organization, they need to know how to use this correctly. Or unless it's just really distributed, because then you can have like a minority group of people who just don't know, and then there might even be a way to burn or get rid of them. But yeah, so I'm going to assign tokens. So a few things, I click assign, and then so then kind of wait a while, right? Like, what happened? So one of the feedbacks that I had was that like they should have like a loading or something, right? It kind of just says, this is pending. And so then, we're going to mint tokens for this. So it's going to create tokens. So I will click create, and then MetaMask will open up. And it'll say insufficient funds. It's because I just switched addresses.
Right.
So
switch back to the main address.
That actually has money, right? So here's the thing. When you do that, sometimes it doesn't actually pick up your new thing.
So it doesn't refresh the provider every time you come in. So
but it looks like this might work. Let's say create transaction. Okay, this time it was okay. But yeah, a few times I was doing stuff like moving between accounts, and there's no feedback.
I find that's a common bug in a lot of dApps, is that sort of that UI flow of having your MetaMask interface with something and then have it move, like change to whatever you're changing can be kind of an issue sometimes.
It is very much present here, and obviously a lot of dApps.
Yeah.
And they, and to give them credit, this just launched on the mainnet, and
I mean, it seems pretty cool. I'm saying, like, I'm looking at all this other stuff here, like finance permissions.
I would like to see here, they should direct you to voting.
Right.
But right now, you see, like, I have a vote here, I have a vote here. These are open votes, but that other vote, that pending vote, is just gone. Even though I made it through MetaMask. So at least I should be able to see that it's pending. Maybe other people can't see. But for example, we don't let you set gas.
And they put 10 Gwei as their thing. But as we know, when Ethereum is really busy, what happens? It
just
10
takes
Gwei
forever,
yields,
yeah. It'll
so
just sit
it'd be
there.
nice to be able to set it. So it actually did just put it on here.
All right.
So there you go. So 6% have voted yes. So now here's the cool thing. I believe, I'm not sure if this is the case, but if no one, so what's happened is I own 6% of the tokens, but we have a 15% quorum.
Okay.
So
What's a quorum?
So okay, yeah. So if it means that's how many people have to be present in a vote.
Okay.
So it means like if 15% of the people vote and 50% of those people say yes, then it'll pass.
That makes sense.
So ours is 15%. Because it's like, not everyone's going to be available. Someone might be on vacation,
Right.
something like that.
So, like, for instance, in the United States, to elect the president, we need a 30% quorum.
We don't need any quorum in the United States.
That's true.
2 people can vote, and that will be the case.
Right.
Well, then, of course, the Electoral College will then vote on their own thing. But yeah, I guess they could all abstain. Yeah, that's the whole thing can happen. So, but that's kind of what's up with that. And so yeah, so this sits, and then so 11 hours is our default setting. Now, I'm not sure how we could. It would be nice if we could change that. So, for example, new vote. I don't think we can change what our quorum.
You can't like override a vote.
It would be
start a new one over.
Well, we can do that, but like it would be nice if we could, like, let's say 12 hours didn't work for us. I think we're kind of stuck with 12 hours. I think forever for proof of office, we have to
All votes are 12 hours.
12 hours.
Okay.
Now that might not be the case, but it's totally not. When I create a new vote, it's just I can either create a question, so I can say something like, "Get a new monitor for the 6th floor," and this just records it. So I said down here, should we buy shoes for new employees? So this isn't this is not going to be, I call these, so I say there's an objective vote and a subjective vote.
Right.
Objective is how we use the treasury. When we mint new tokens or when we actually spend money. So that's the really other cool part. So I'll show you that. So like, here's finance. So right now in our organization, we have 0.15F.
Right.
And that's all I would put in it until, of course, everyone knows how to use it, right? So what I can do is I can say new transfer, and I can say create a withdrawal. And I can say, actually, let's send it to this address, that address I just had. I want to send money to them. I want to send 0.05.
Wait, I'm seeing a selector here. Can you choose other currencies as well?
You can.
Okay.
But you have to have them first.
You have to have the token available in like the registry. Or
in the token address. So we would send money to our DAO, and then we would be able to manage that.
Okay.
So we'll have to play around with that. Like, there's a lot of quirky things. So because maybe not that. Because as I was testing with the testnet, you go to your settings, and there's all kinds of stuff. So there's a token manager, the voting manager. So I'm actually imagining that we'd have to send it to our token manager, not our DAO.
Okay.
So yeah, and then there's or maybe we send it to the finance one.
So there's no like tool tips or anything to kind of help direct you through this process.
Yeah. So like that's the question. So yeah, we have a token. Do we send it to the token manager, or do we send it to the finance?
Okay.
I could see sending it to either one, and I don't know. We don't know. So we'd have to actually just send a few tokens to somewhere, and just be like, oh, we can never access those tokens anymore.
Right.
Just because we don't know. Right. Now there's probably documentation and everything like that. But here we go. So it says, do not send Ether tokens to this address. Go to the finance app. Okay. Yeah. So it is finance.
Okay. All right.
It's real small. Yeah. So I can imagine people saying, oh, the token manager. That's where I'll send.
That's where I'll send my tokens.
Yeah.
The terminology.
Yeah, right.
This can be really confusing.
Make sure to send it to finance.
Especially when trying to move quick. Like you have a vote you want to get out. Like if we need monitors, we're a tech company.
Bingo.
We would want to get those monitors.
And someone's gonna do it though. That's the other thing. Someone in the organization is just gonna be like, hey, send those tokens over to our DAO. And they're gonna go in and go, so what's our DAO? Or they're just gonna go here and assume in the token that this is the address for our DAO.
Right.
And they'll just send a bunch of tokens or a bunch of Ether, God forbid. Right? And now it's not in our treasury, and there's no way of us getting access to that.
Yeah, I mean,
So
we've been really
mistakes is the key. Like, people can make mistakes, and that's the thing about projects.
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
I think our community needs to take a really big look at the fact that since mistakes are immutable, really helping to make sure mistakes aren't made. I think the UIs have to take a really big exercise.
There's lots of checks, lots of kind of, are you sure you want to do this kind of
if I was to redesign this, like, not saying Aragon should do this per se, but if I was to redesign this,
well, it's young tech, it's young.
I wouldn't put the token address. I wouldn't put this address up here because people are going to accidentally use that. They don't. There's no reason. They don't need this per se, right? I would just keep that out of it because if they're doing like a lookup or like they have a smart contract that looks it up, people are gonna use that address.
Right, yeah, because right now they're probably legislating like the application state from the URI bar.
Yeah.
And rather keep it inside a data store somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can just put in your address manually to send it to other people, but that's gonna get, like earlier, that's what happened to me. Like I was flipping between tabs, I was trying to be careful, but I totally like just copied that address accidentally because I thought it was on Etherscan.
Right.
Copied it, pasted it in.
That makes total sense to accidentally. Like that's, and I mean like that's the thing about all of this is that this is really cool and it functions and it's really. I've looked at some of the Aragon stuff before and like the white papers and all that. And it's really really interesting. But at the end of the day, like, we have had people in this office who are really smart, really savvy analysts who know all the math in the world. But when they sit down to use even something simple like Google Docs, all of a sudden like they delete a document out of our folder or something because accidentally, because there wasn't a check, there wasn't just because the button's red doesn't mean that it's actually protecting you from just user error. And in blockchain,
and we've had people accidentally send money. Here's a great example. We had a contractor whose contract ended, and we accidentally sent money to them. Now here's the thing: we let them keep it, but with this there wouldn't be an option, right?
Yeah.
If you had a zero, it's like. And I think that's why the voting is so great because every action requires a majority vote. So someone can spot it, right? But I guess it's a bigger problem when you're setting up. But with a deposit is the problem.
Okay.
Deposit doesn't require a vote. Obviously, anyone can send money to anywhere on the Ethereum blockchain. So we have our finance division. So we'll see all of our tokens here. And so we can put proof tokens here. We can put F token. We can put every token inside of here, and we can manage them.
So is this set up in a way to actually create a corporate structure out of it too? Like, can you have different roles and people like if you have a CFO, only they can see certain screens or permission and that kind of thing as well?
So they have this bunch of permissions.
Okay.
And so I'm not completely exactly sure how all this stuff works. So it looks like there is and that's the thing. I don't know what any of these. It would be nice to be able to kind of hover and be like, what's an ACL? What is an ACL? Create permissions, voting. I think all this stuff off the bat kind of makes sense. So you have to actually go in and learn all this stuff, but that's the thing. You can't expect everyone in your organization to do that.
Right.
Especially when you know everything is forever.
I mean, it's using terms like kernel, ACL, like arithmetic computing, all that stuff there is very computing heavy terms. Yeah. I mean, for blockchain nerds, this is
great,
amazing, but as far as trying to get somebody else to use it, that's always going to be the issue.
And there's
it's just the terminology. It's literally, a lot of times I realize a lot of this is just literally in the terminology. It's just change some of the words to something people know.
But look at this. This looks pretty cool. They have an alpha payroll.
Yeah.
Cool. But
read more.
I have to read more.
Right. It takes you
how do I?
It takes you to GitHub.
It takes me to GitHub, right? Which is great. I would love to read the code, but it should be like add or something. Or use or import, right? I guess they're saying it's an alpha, so you figure out how to do it.
Right. I mean, that's always a discussion you need to have when you release any kind of software, especially in the blockchain space. Is like, if it's for alpha, it's for obviously savvy users, people who know what they're doing, and so it makes sense to say, all right, we can use these terminologies. We can take people to a GitHub, and they understand that the README is kind of where the controlling point of knowledge is. But at the same time, it still doesn't give us the insight as people who might want to use it for an institution or have one of our customers use it for an institution, the idea of what it's actually going to be like.
Yeah. But so it's new tech.
It looks clean though. I like the look of it.
It's new tech. It's pretty simple. I think we shouldn't do anything fancy with it, except for give people in our organization tokens and even some of our I think in our Discord for people who are really contributing,
right?
Give them a voice, right? That's what's really awesome. You can give people in the community interesting voice, and they can see all the stuff we're voting on. So we could just put all that stuff up here, which is like, hey, we should create a new bounty for this,
right?
And then everyone can actually see what we're voting on, which is really cool. I think we should really use it for that, and and then you can see all the previous votes.
Yeah, I think in this company it'd be fine. Everyone here's a crypto head anyway, so that makes it really easy. But I think
really also community engagement. I think community engagement is awesome. Transparency.
This would be really, really cool for the people that work out of the offices. People who we want to have within the corporate governance of the company that aren't in Korea or something like that.
Yeah, and we manage a lot of multi. So we have our multi.
And you have to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, we have multi-sigs, right? And when we do that, it's such a long, arduous process.
Right.
I think that's the thing. We wouldn't move a lot of money onto this because it is alpha, right? If a lot of the UI stuff is broken, you kind of have to assume that maybe some of the fundamental stuff might be broken. So I wouldn't feel necessarily comfortable putting more than like a couple $1,000s on here.
Right.
I wouldn't put $10,000 or more because it's like someone could, like the parody multi-sig hack. Like someone
Yeah,
could
who
find
knows what's actually
what's going on.
But I mean,
yeah.
that's the case.
So,
We should be looking at these contracts and auditing them ourselves before you can choose to use the tech.
but the thing about auditing them yourself, that's a full-time job, right? Like there's multiple people on our team with a full-time job to do that. So it's just, I think it just has to mature. But for like a checking account, as far as like, let's make it transparent what we're voting for, use it as a place where we're saying we're going to honor these votes, and a place where we're managing, like a checking, up to a few $1,000s.
Right.
We're going to spend on this new monitor.
This is what this is for, yeah, that makes
We're going to
total
pay
sense.
this contractor. We're going to do whatever, and we actually send it through there, so everything has to be confirmed, and we just send money from a multi-sig that we've audited and done all that stuff to places like this to actually vote.
Yeah.
I think this would be a great solution. So
This is really cool to me as well because we're finally seeing like a graphical representation of a DAO.
yes.
And then it works.
Yes.
It has a cool company behind it. And then we're no longer just. I remember the first time we were looking at DAOs, it was literally just a smart contract that was kind of on the Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah.
But what do you have to do? You have to send in more money than the last person. You have to send in this stuff and kind of. It's just like these are weird, and this doesn't feel like you could build an institution off this. But you start seeing the seeds of what this decentralized economy actually is here. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Aragon has definitely take steps, and they've been around for a while. So it's really cool. So
I'm excited to see where this goes, and I say we put it into use. I say we play around with it.
Let's do it.
As an institution.
I really think we should give people in our community tokens for a variety of things, and we can create votes on what should qualify for a token. I can put up a proposal. We can put up a proposal and say if a user does this, we should give them extra tokens. And so we say okay, and then we can then transfer, agree, and now they can actually vote on stuff that we do, including the actual treasury.
I wanted to ask you about that. Are there communication tools built into this at all, so I can?
That would be cool.
All right.
That would be really cool. No.
All right.
I think that's why they have the app section, because that would be
Then
cool.
somebody's going to create.
Someone could build an app. So then maybe they're asking us, hey, you guys
So what happens if we create
create a new app?
Right. We should just put avocado on here, just
Yeah.
just the avocado app, and then just run it all through Aragon.
So it's just kind of documentation.
Right.
And then you
Cool.
kind of figure. I imagine you submit it to them, and then they.
Aragon Developer Portal. That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's maybe we'll build an app. It would be nice. Yeah. I don't know. Connect it to Discord. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Can I get Discord, Telegram, something like that?
I don't know if that's what they even mean by apps.
Yeah. Well, we'd have to look through it.
Yeah.
And
Is that something facing outwards or going inwards?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's easy to criticize things. They've still done a phenomenal job.
it's really
But I think even when we look at our products, it'd be nice. We should think like that as well, right? People are creating apps. Because really, what I'm wondering here is this for apps that run inside of here, or is this for apps that monitor what happens here and move out, or is it both?
Yeah.
And maybe they should have sections for that. So like, just it's little things that you look at, and it's like, okay. But like I said, good job, and I think we'll probably learn a lot as we use it.
Yeah. Collaborative data vault. That's a fancy word for wiki.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Thank you.